this thing. Picked up an entire new package. This is the Tecno chassis. It's a senior chassis. Tecno is a sole company, so it's not a branch off of CRG or OTK or Burrell, Praga. It's different. It's an Italian company, same, just like Zanardi and CRG, so maybe plays into my favor a little bit. I already read through the entire setup manual, owner's manual, for just the base setup and what you should expect, I guess, when you make certain adjustments. So yeah, we'll get into the frame check and then hopefully pick up whenever we're about to get some laps in. And we have a brand new engine, brand new set of wheels and tires. Alfano also came with the chassis, so it's really nice. Stand came with it and some extra oil, so got a relatively good deal on it comparatively. I was looking at the other chassis available and the cost of what they go for an entire package like this. Like you're running upwards to 9 grand, 8 or 9 grand for a newer chassis, especially if it comes with tires, wheels, and engine, Alfano, you name it. The other day, Onaga-san was teaching me how to pull off the engine and do kind of some of the maintenance, I guess you would do for a newer engine. Just checking a few things like making sure the sprocket was centered, changing out the oil for some motor oil, some better oil. Today we'll do the frame check, so we're gonna start checking the alignment, make sure some of the bolts are good, probably get some laps in at some point. Tecno chassis also has this interesting adjustment up here for the, you could call this a steering rack relocation. That's how I would say, being a drifter, I would say this is like a steering rack relocation where you move this forward and then you'll get some more toe out on either side of the cart. So that's just a quick, easy adjustment without having to mess with both of the tie rods. In good Okinawa fashion, it has started pouring rain. Anyways, we've almost touched every nut and bolt on the cart. Daiki was testing the tightness on these and they were almost completely loose. Kind of the reason why you need to do this type of thing whenever you get a new cart. I found a problem with the alignment, the tie rod touching. Yeah. So we need to change the alignment a little bit. There's also like 50 millimeters of space. I guess we're just gonna test that out first and then see what happens. But I'm gonna give Daiki a hand. All right, so me and Daiki just finished up putting the cart back together. We were struggling with a little bit of alignment issues. So to fix the rubbing issue that I was talking about in the last clip, I believe, we moved the tie rods to the inside pickup. We got the alignment dialed in with the sniper pods. Yeah, it's set to 0 right now, and we have the quick toe adjustment in the middle. With it set to 0, we'll be able to make an adjustment either way. That's why I put it in the middle. If anything, we're gonna need to go toe out, and I wanna say toe out will be moving this forward. That'll give us toe out on both sides and more front bias whenever we're steering in. So that is that. Cart's put all back together.
You sure about that?
This is the most in-depth maintenance I've done since I started this. Hopefully we can get some laps in today, and we do have to do a little bit of a break-in for the engine. I don't know what that entails exactly. Maybe just doing 15 minutes of slow driving, I would guess. I'm not sure. If I go out there, I'll strap the GoPro onto the cart and then make sure to get some of the laps just in case anything cool happens. So skip ahead a couple days and we finally can get the cart out on track. I was really excited for this day just to kind of feel the cart and get used to a new chassis, especially a cart that has seen 0 laps. I really wanted to know how that felt and to know that the frame was straight, because I found something wrong with the Zanardi. Zanardi frame might be a little bent, but it's fast that way, so we'll just leave it. Unfortunately, we had to spend the first half of the day breaking the engine in, so this first session, boring session to be quite honest with you. The max RPM range I could go to, they wanted me to keep it in the 7,000 to 9,000 RPM range maximum. The protocol is like drive it around that range for 15 minutes, which was really quite boring. I was holding a lot back. I just wanted to let the thing rip. But we got those 2 sessions out of the way. Then the next session, we bump up the RPM range to 9,000 to 11,000 maximum range for another 15 minutes. That's the guidance for a new engine, to break in a new engine. So yeah, that's 2 sessions spent, maybe even 3, just trying to break the engine in. So those were some of the break-in laps. It was about 15 minutes of driving in the 7,000 to 9,000 RPM range. The second session will be from 9,000 to 11,000 RPMs. That should be the maximum range you're getting to. And I mean, Kukuru circuit, I mean, you've seen the track. The straights aren't very long, so the RPMs don't get that high. But I don't know, it feels good for now. It's hard to tell at this point, since the Kart is in the stiffest setting possible, I would say. I mean, everything's tight. Rear bumper's tight. We have a seat stay here. We have 2 seat stays there. And it kind of felt like an airplane just slipping through the air. So that was interesting. I mean, we are using the used D2 tires. They're just testing tires, so I don't really care at this point. But obviously, when we try to dial in the setup, that matters a lot more. So let's jump into the fast session here. This is the last session of the day, and Shinobu-san was saying, Kiden-san, max push. So that's what I was trying my best to do. Keep in mind, we are on an 84 sprocket, and this track is good for an 87 sprocket. The 84 sprocket will give you a higher top speed. The 87 sprocket will give you a lower top speed, but lower end torque, so you can drive out of the corner more and get up to the rev range faster. So with the 87 sprocket, I want to say our best time was 22.6 this day. Nothing else about the setup has changed, but the D2 used tires have a very big window where you can run pretty much the same time. I would say they could last around this track almost a month, and you can just be running the same time, testing your consistency and testing different setups, which I think a consistent tire is better to dial in the Kart. If I tried to dial in the Kart on a new set of tires, the setup would be nullified. I believe this was a couple weeks ago. We did end up changing the sprocket, and we found quite a bit of time. And on the left side of the screen, you can see Ray there with the timing board showing me my last times, because I told him my Alfano wasn't working, but it actually started working. I didn't say anything though, because I thought it was cool. Thought it was cool to have him show me the time as I went by. Yeah, still just understeering everywhere, and then on exit sliding everywhere. That's pretty much what this session consisted of. I learned a lot about the chassis just trying to do my max push, and I would say it is matching the Zanardi at this point. Especially being on the slower sprocket, it doesn't feel that much different, and the brake feels exactly the same, which is a gripe that I've had with the Zanardi, so that might not be a good thing. I'll try to dial that in more, because getting better at it, I'm able to just kind of be on the verge of locking up, especially going into turn 4. That's what you want. You just want to be on the verge of locking up and slip the rear a little bit for some rotation. So wrapping up this session, I guess I'll just use this as an introduction to the new chassis. I think everybody was a little skeptical about it, including myself, because it was just so different from what the Kukuru staff is used to and what I'm used to. It's just a different kart overall, but I think the first couple of sessions were really good, and I'm excited and looking forward to what this kart could do and where we could go with it. All right, well, I guess we could call that day 1 of testing complete. I really only had one session to really try and push and feel what the kart was doing. But after doing some measurements, front track width, we just have 20 millimeters of space on each side. Now, this is where we kind of have a problem. The rear track width, the technical manual says it should be at 1400. So that's quite a big difference. That's like 4.5 centimeters off of what factory setting should be, which makes sense because this would give the kart more front bias, and I was having a little bit of oversteer issues going into some braking and corner 1 and a little bit of the exit on 3. I was just having too much sliding on the exit. I knew this was also going to kill my time a little bit, so with the sprocket being 84 teeth, that gives you higher top speed, pretty sure. And then Kukuru, a truck like this where you don't really have much high-speed section. The highest speed is the front straight, which is maybe 50 yards. 50 yards, I don't know what that is in beans and toast units. Anyways, 84 teeth, that's gonna kill your drive out of the corner. You have less torque in the bottom range, so it takes a little bit longer for the cart to accelerate. I do have an 87 tooth sprocket somewhere. Yeah, here it is, boom. 87 tooth. Probably gonna throw that on. That's worth maybe 2 or 3 tenths, I would say, because there's just, I'm on the gas and I'm waiting, pretty much. Which ideally, if I'm on the gas out of a corner, I like just a little bit of wheel spin so I can modulate it just a tad, and I know that I'm on the verge of grip for or on the edge of the maximum grip for the tire at that point. I'm gonna go talk with Shinobu-san and maybe Daiki-san for a little bit of a breakdown on the setup. They're not familiar with this chassis at all, and I must say it doesn't feel much different from the Zanardi, which is probably a good thing, since the Zanardi is a champion cart, as they say at Kukuru. So yeah, that's probably gonna be it for this video. I don't know what clips I included, maybe a little bit of the Zanardi maintenance as well. But that's just what's been going on this last week, is just setting up this cart, setting up Zanardi, and we're gonna figure this thing out. So see you guys in the next one.